There we go. Internal. Up and up,
Now I was standing on the side of the road next to an airplane without a propeller. Someone stopped and got out of their car and asked if I was okay, and within a few minutes another person came over with a chain and offered to help me move the plane off the road. We were able to move it around 100 feet to a gravel parking lot nearby, which is definitely a safer spot than in the middle of the highway. After this, I gave a call to air traffic control and explained to them that I was alright, and they were pretty happy to hear that the landing was successful. I'm sure one of the hardest parts of their job is hearing emergencies unfold, as pretty much every controller that I've talked to has had a story of hearing someone's last words on frequency. About 10 minutes later, the first police officer arrived on scene and began collecting information on the incident. Within another 10 minutes, there were probably 8 police cars just lining the road.
You can't park there!
What's up, bro? What's up,
One of the things that shocked me was just how hectic the next 3 hours were. This started off with giving statements and then sharing all the documentation that I had for myself and the aircraft. The police notified the NTSB and the FAA, and shortly thereafter, I received phone calls from both of them. Both were primarily just glad to hear that the situation had a successful outcome and that everybody was okay. Interestingly, my insurance company actually called me before the FAA or the NTSB. It was amazing to me how quickly the word spread to all of these agencies. The next 30 minutes was spent with the police officers trying to figure out what we're going to do with this airplane. The original plan was to get a tow truck and bring the plane to the nearest airport, but of course the plane wouldn't fit down a single lane. Luckily, some of the officers were able to get in touch with the owner of the gravel lot, who said I could keep the plane there as long as needed. After this, I got a ride from one of the officers to a nearby hotel where I could finally sit down and talk to my close friends and family and let them know that I was okay. And the next day, I hopped on a commercial flight and made my way back home. Of course, the next problem that I had was recovering the airplane and bringing it back to my home airport. My mom and I ended up renting a 17-foot landscaping trailer, loading the truck up with a bunch of tools, and taking the 10.5-hour road trip from Maine all the way to Olean, New York. The next day, we removed the wings from the aircraft and began loading the plane up onto the trailer.
We've loaded up the Sonics into the trailer. Ended up being about a 4.5-hour job. We're a little worried at first that this trailer wouldn't be big enough. We definitely couldn't have gotten by with any smaller of a trailer. A little bit of a sad sight seeing this here, but it certainly could have gone so much worse.
This was followed by a slightly more stressful 10.5-hour road trip where we brought everything home. Altogether, it took us 4 days for this recovery mission. Since then, the plane's been stored back here in the hangar with the wings removed. Understandably, my friends, family, and close mentors in aviation are all reluctant to see me get back in this airplane. It honestly breaks my heart to have to let this plane go, especially with the big plans that I had for it and the time and effort that I invested into making it something great. Ultimately, I think it's the right decision, and it will hopefully make way for another airplane someday, something probably with a certified engine. So my original plan for this trip was to fly from Maine to Indiana with a friend of mine to visit some college classmates before continuing down to Florida.
And we are about to depart on a 3,000 plus mile journey. Today, we're going to be trying to make it to Indiana in this plane, which should be about 9 hours of flying. We're going to be heading to Portland International Airport. I'm going to pick up my friend and my coworker there. It's going to be a little bit tight. Won't be able to take a lot of bags, but should be a fantastic time. And I just got all the certifications done for this aircraft to be IFR capable, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we'll be staying VFR for the entirety of this journey, but it's good to know if something happens, we have that option available to us.
Unfortunately, we only ever made it to Ohio, where we got stuck for 3 days due to a rough running engine. We would eventually find out through several rounds of troubleshooting and consulting with multiple aircraft mechanics that we had a vapor lock problem. Essentially, the fuel line was routed too close to the hot exhaust pipes, causing vapor bubbles to form in the fuel line. This would cause brief interruptions in fuel flow to the engine, resulting in momentary stutters. And hearing the engine stutter in a small plane like this is not a very good feeling. Luckily, we were able to resolve this issue, but after 3 days stuck in small town Ohio, we were pretty defeated. My buddy ended up heading north to visit some family nearby in Toronto, and I continued on my way solo back to Maine. I have to say it felt pretty good to be flying along for 2 hours with no problems after having spent 3 days trying to troubleshoot what was wrong. Unfortunately, that feeling would be short-lived, as 2 hours into this flight, I would experience the, to my knowledge, unrelated crankshaft failure and loss of the propeller. One thing this situation has taught me is the importance of the reality check, especially when it comes to differentiating between what's legal and what's actually safe. I think the story behind this plane is an interesting one, as to my knowledge, it's literally the cheapest fully IFR certified airplane in the entire country. So I want to share with you how I got this idea, how I made it happen, how much it cost me, and maybe why it wasn't so.
I stumbled across Wupioif just a few weeks ago. A user on my Discord recommended the channel to me. At first, it seemed like little more than Minecraft beta gameplay footage, but there was something about it that hooked me, and I felt this odd desire to watch the entire series. And what I found is that hidden inside this seemingly boring channel is one of the most bizarre and fascinating Minecraft mysteries that I have ever seen, and it's completely unsolved.
Cool. This is a Minecraft ARG. Scary.
The series opens with a rather unique title card. If you are content, welcome. Relax and enjoy. The player mines for a few moments before we switch to a shot in a house. Hello everyone. Today we will be completing the Glass Cathedral. The cathedral is already partially constructed, and the player descends into the mine to gather some additional cobblestone. This is not a totally new world. In fact, the player already has a diamond pickaxe and some infrastructure in the mine, but it's still pretty early on. The game version is Minecraft Beta 1.4. However, we will later learn that the series is being recorded in 2025. After a few minutes in the mine, they find a dungeon, but there's nothing there besides a skeleton. Then there's a cut. A zombie got my dog. We can see the smoke particles rising up. The good boy must have just died. We have not actually seen the dog in the series, although we can hear it bark in their house. The player's health is low from the scuffle with the zombie, so they kill some pigs and cook the meat. Then it's back to the mines. They're apparently going to need a lot of cobblestone for their cathedral. They will also need glass, so the player heads to the desert with a shovel. Once they've gathered enough, they put it into the furnaces. The player then enters the cathedral and begins building the upper layer. This goes on for several minutes before the player goes to sleep. It's at this point in the video that we see something a bit unconventional, a command telling us to pause the video. Eat if you are hungry, drink if you are thirsty. I recommend water. Take as long as you need. This is a strange thing to see in a YouTube video, especially nowadays. Yet, it is a thoughtful and caring sentiment. In fact, the videos on this channel buck YouTube trends consistently. They are slow-paced and peaceful, with extended building sequences with the Minecraft music in the background. But don't let the speed of it fool you. This is one of the most interesting Minecraft channels that I've ever seen. Once the water break is complete, the player returns to construction. They retrieve the glass from their furnace and begin adding the cathedral windows.
Wait, whoa, hold up. Oh no. Why is there an ad like that? Fuck you. But second off, that water thing.
ever seen.
The water clutch.
Once the water break is complete, the player returns to construction.
You can't do that in beta 1 point whatever. You can't. That was all. When was the version that introduced MLG water buckets? InfDev 2010-06-15. Was that before or after the beta? Oh, I'm a dumbass.
They retrieve the glass from their furnace and begin adding the cathedral windows. They drop off the ledge, but unfortunately fail the MLG water bucket multiple times, which slowly drains their health. 13 minutes into the video, the player says that they are almost done. They continue building until night falls, where they take a rest in their bed. Then it's back to work on the cathedral's roof. They fail the water bucket drop for a third time, to which they say, "Humiliating." Soon, the cathedral is nearly complete, missing just one more thing. The player goes to the forest and chops down some trees, being sure to replant them. As night falls, they hear a cave noise.
Oh, there was an extra footstep after his.
This prompts them to return to their bed. Finally, they're done, and we see that the glass cathedral is a storage place. Chests adorn its pillars, and the player admires their work. At 1927, the render distance suddenly changes, increasing the amount of fog. But this may have just been the player using the keyboard shortcut.
AI chat is tweaking, bro.
Hello, nice to meet you. A simple hello.
And the player using the keyboard shortcut. The video concludes with a screen that says, "Thank you for watching Glass Cathedral." The video ends with a time-lapse of the player mining cobblestone, alongside a cat dancing to the sped-up music. The first video on this channel seems to be essentially normal. There's nothing that is obviously incorrect or strange about it. There are, however, a few subtleties that are intriguing. The video footage itself isn't clean, it has some sort of effect on it. Furthermore, all of the gameplay is letterboxed, it isn't full screen. Presumably, this is to give space for the captions, but it is a bit of a strange choice. Speaking of strange choices, why exactly is the player building a huge cathedral so early on in their world? The house isn't even complete, the floor is missing, and there are no doors on the back side. What is so important about this cathedral? This video is relatively slow-paced. Please watch in your free time. If you are content, welcome. Relax and enjoy. Hello everyone, I want to build the statues today. This video is entitled Family. The player heads into the cathedral to pick up some supplies, and we can see that they've played the game a bit since the previous episode. After a brief mining session, the player asks where they should put them. They decide on the water. The player goes into the lake and pillars up. They begin constructing using smooth stone and cobble. After a moment, they step back to observe, but it's not quite right. They continue building, but night is falling. The player runs to their house to sleep. But suddenly, they're awoken by a zombie which immediately kills them. This is actually an old feature in Minecraft Beta, where enemies could spawn as you tried to sleep, like a monster under the bed. The player recovers their items and kills the zombie. During the next day, the statue is completed. The player goes into the water and turns around, giving us our first look at it. Isn't it just a bit, I don't know, off? Why did they choose to build this? The player enters the cathedral. Through the window, the statue is just barely visible in the distance. The player says that this is perfect. Back on the ground, the player says that the statue wants a friend, so they construct a second statue, this one sitting on the grass like a frog.
What the shit?
This is the first truly anomalous moment of the series. Are these the words of the statues? Where's this text coming from? The video cuts back to gameplay footage, and it's not immediately clear if the players saw the same thing that we did. They carry on as if they didn't. As they return to the mine, we can see that they've moved their bed underground, presumably to stop further zombies from attacking. Back on the surface, they realize that they're going to die, so they go to the farm to gather some wheat. However, they hear another cave noise. The player looks around. The statue is there, as well as an island with a flower, but there's nothing clearly wrong. Once they have solved their food issue, the player continues mining, going to sleep a few times. It's such a weird bed configuration, 2 sand pillars. About 8 minutes in, we discover that they are in fact going to build another statue. They return to the lake and think about where to place it. Then we hear another cave sound, coming from the right-hand side. When the player turns, we can see that it came from the island. But the player doesn't seem to notice. In a fit of inspiration, they begin to construct the third statue. The player says that it's fallen down, and it is prostrate in the lake. But to me, it kind of seems like it's bowing, and it's bowing in the direction of the cathedral. In a frenzy, the player constructs more and more statues, returning to sleep whenever night falls. Eventually, they say that they're all done. The player steps back to admire their work, a grand total of 11 statues. Some are humanoid, some look like animals, some look like cubes. They return to the cathedral and look at them through the window.
That is creepy.
What exactly is the player doing here? The statues have a really odd and unsettling nature. They feel foreign to the landscape, something we don't expect to see in Minecraft. What is their purpose? For now, we have no choice but to continue on to the next video, called My New House.
What is the biggest statue in the entire world?
Sometimes life can be a little messy. But with next-gen Nuvella Performance Fabric at Ashley, we've got your whole home covered. So you can get back to what you love, messes and all.
It opens with the player walking around in their mine. We again see the notice informing us that what we're watching is going to be slow-paced. The player is looking at their statues. Can we say hi? Somehow, the statues respond. They have red text that says, hi. But this is not strange to the player. They seemingly expected the statues to be able to talk, and they respond with, they have red text that says, hi. But this is not strange to the player. They seemingly expected the statues to be able to talk, and they respond with, good job. Back in their house, the player says that they need a pit. In the desert, they mark a perimeter and begin leveling it out. But they say that such a large project will take time, which is why they have something special planned for today. They turn to look around, but there's nothing there. The special plan for today is to upgrade their house. I'm so excited we chose to do this. I've been sleeping in the tunnel for so long. The player removes the roof line before briefly hearing yet another cave sound. Again, there's nothing there, and the player decides that a bridge will look good. They construct it. Then, they build the first floor of their new house out of sandstone before sleeping for the night. Progress continues as the player adds a second floor. They go to the forest and get some mushrooms for under the tower, placing them in the dark space beneath. Then they continue building. In the evening, the player returns to look at the statues. Hello? There is no response. So sleepy. Hello? The player is back in their house, and they've once again been awoken by a zombie. They kill it, go to sleep, and it happens another time. They go to sleep again, and it happens a third time with a skeleton. Oh, come on! Finally, they're able to rest. The next day, they return to the farm where they hear another cave sound. But then something odd. The player says, sorry. Perhaps they feel they've done something wrong. Could the cave sound have come from the giants? They have heard a cave sound from this location before. There must be something in the vicinity that's causing it. Whatever that may be, it's back to building.
Yeah,
After a few more minutes, we can see that they've got the structure of their house complete. On the top floor, the player begins building the attic. As they remove their torches, they hear another sound. But there's nothing to be seen. The player constructs a gravel path. They pick up some flowers for under the bridge. They place them down and continue to work. As night falls, the player goes to their new house and sleeps in their new bed for the first time. It is much more comfortable than the old one. The next day, the player constructs the second floor to their main house. As they clean up their scaffolding, they notice something strange under the bridge. The red flowers are gone. Where did they go? The player theorizes that it was too dark. Construction continues. A path, and then a kitchen. But back underneath the house, something strange has happened again. The set of red flowers on the far side has also disappeared. What? Let's move these to a brighter place. The player breaks the flowers and replants them along the path. Then they add doors to the kitchen, thus completing their build for the day. All done. How do we know that this channel is pronounced Wupioif? Well, each video actually has a tag that explains how to say the name. It's not all that important, but it's worth mentioning nonetheless. The next video takes place 1 week later, and it's called Their First Words. Hello everyone. I'm going to work on our docks. There's an odd moaning sound in the background, but we learn that it's coming from the statues. They've been very talkative lately. I think that a better dock will cheer them up. As the player gathers materials from their house, the statues speak once more. House, the statues speak once more. Construction continues, but suddenly the music cuts out. The statues recognize this as a dock, but they continue to make noises to the annoyance of the player. Hey, I'm working. Please be quiet. Thank you. There's a cut to later in time, and we hear the statues moaning again. Oh my goodness. Be quiet, please. I'm trying to build you something. The statues calm down. Thank you. But they aren't quiet for long. However, it cuts out. Hello. Please be quiet. This seems to confuse the statues. What? The audio of the statue sounds almost like a very slowed down voice. In fact, if we speed it up 4 times, we can hear that the statues appear to be saying something. To me, it sounds like desire, but it isn't completely clear. Let me know what you think in the comments.
I'm hearing iron.
Construction on the dock continues. The player hears a cave sound after they awake. The next task is a path to the farm. The player clears out the space beneath the house and extends it. Just as they finish, we hear the statues again. Do you like the dock? Again, the music cuts out. The statues do not respond. Hello?
The motherfucker going crazy.
Hello? Thank you for being quiet. Are you okay? Hello? The statues seem to enjoy calling out to the player. In fact, they enjoy it so much that it distracts them and they request silence. The statues are capable of speaking English words, although it seems as though they are limited in their ability to communicate. Sometimes their moans sound like the words they're saying, other times it's more vague and the player doesn't know what they mean. The player does appear to be doing things for the statues. They construct a dock for them, but their true purpose remains somewhat mysterious. A few months ago, I was sponsored by Displate. For those who don't know, Displates are metal posters, which are a unique alternative to canvas or prints. I recently moved into a new place, and my first thought was how I could get some more of these because I liked them so much. So I reached out to Displate to see if they'd sponsor me again,
Bro looks like a
and they
cooler.
agreed. Link today. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to build a sandcastle. The player begins by crafting some shovels. Then they head into the desert to dig up the large amounts of sand that will be required. We will need a lot of sand, obviously. As night falls, the player returns home to sleep. I don't know why everyone's been so quiet lately. They haven't said anything since the dock. Hopefully the sandcastle will get them talking. This is a notable inversion. In the previous video, the player built a dock because the statues were talking too much. Now, they're adding a sandcastle because they're not talking enough. It almost seems like what the player is choosing to construct isn't actually intended for the statues. They're just hoping that they randomly like whatever they choose to make. After digging for a few minutes, the player stumbles across something strange in the distance. One of their statues has moved. What? What are you doing over here? I didn't build you here. The player is understandably confused. They return to their base and look at the statues by their house. Is one of you missing? The answer is yes. If we compare this shot to when the player first completed the giants, we can see that the little cube one in the back is gone. The player wonders if this is why the statues have been so quiet, so they create another cube statue, just like new. I wonder when he moved. It's actually a bit difficult to pin down an exact moment. The cube statue is way in the distance, and there are very few shots where the player is close enough that it would be visible. It has certainly gone by their first words, but there is a shot in My New House where it seems to be missing as well. Perhaps this is why the statues were so talkative. They were trying to tell the player about their missing companion. The player continues getting sand for their castle, but after a few moments, we hear the statue in the distance. It calls out a few times, and the player hears it, moving towards it.
Help.
The word is unmistakable. The statue said, "Help."
Please.
Please what?
Friend.
You want a friend?
Please help.
Okay.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44. This is a first look at the current industry-leading...
Please help.
Okay. To me, it's not entirely clear what the statue wants. The player thinks that it's asking for a friend, but it could just as easily be referring to the player, calling them out and asking for help. If, say, something else had moved the statue, then it might be asking the player to return it home to its brothers. But the player interprets this to mean that the statue wants a friend, so they go back to the house. Do any of you want to live with your brother? No? Instead of breaking down an old statue, the player returns to the cube and constructs a new one, a parallel to the first time the statues were built. Even as this friend is in progress, the cube continues to ask for help, perhaps supporting the idea that it really wants something else. Regardless, the player finishes it and returns to digging sand. Just a bit more sand for the castle. Night approaches once more, and the player goes back to their house to sleep. In the morning, they mine some more sand, noting that they are all quiet now. Then they begin constructing the castle. The music is a somber piano track, and we suddenly realize that we haven't had any vanilla Minecraft music since the very first video. The piano plays a phrase that I find to be rather interesting. Let's take a listen. Arvo part. There's a piece called fratres, which is Latin for brothers. Let's take a listen. There's a distinct similarity in several regards. The texture is the same, with slow chords interspersed with extremely low, rumbling piano sounds. The harmonic structure is very similar as well. Maybe it's a reach, but I wanted to draw the connection in case it isn't. In my mind, the similarity is quite clear. Construction of the sandcastle continues for several minutes. The player also constructs a small one on the shore of the lake. At one moment, the player stares out into the night, where we see a few faint lights in the distance. These are coming from the torches inside the eyes of one of the statues. The player adds floors to the sandcastle, as well as stairs between them. Then, at last, they show us the completed structure. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to build a greenhouse. I'm getting tired of hunting, and they've been so quiet. When the player returns to the desert, we see that the cube is still there, alongside his friend. Anyone there? maybe a shiny new building will get them talking. This is the second time that the statues have fallen silent, and the second time that the player has chosen to build a structure to get them talking again. We hear a bit of a strange sound as the player goes to sleep, like a creaking perhaps. The player enters the mine to get gravel for the paths. We can see that their mine is much more, well, mined than it was previously. They construct a path to the sand pit. Then they clear out a plot of land for the greenhouse, using gravel to flatten it out. They kill a creeper that was lurking in a cave, and then return to their house to sleep. As they pass by the giants, the player says that they're sorry they told them to be quiet. There's that weird creaking noise again. This time, the player notices it. Hello? But as soon as they look in the attic, the sound goes away. It's back to work on the greenhouse. More land needs to be cleared. Okay, before we make the greenhouse, I want plant plots. Night approaches and the player returns to their house. There's nothing in the attic. And yet, we still hear a slight creaking sound as the player closes their eyes.
Need help shaping your chapter? Meet the new and improved Chapter Critique. Turn doubt into direct...
As the player closes their eyes. No matter, it's back to work. There's a brief cave sound when the player is near the cathedral, but it doesn't slow their progress. The player adds some decorations to the path, and they say that they need to get more flowers, so they return to the forest to find some. While they're there, they stumble across a wolf. Puppy! I haven't had a dog in so long. The player retrieves a bone and tames the wolf, bringing it back to their house. Yay! A quick peek in the attic reveals nothing. I have never done this, but what do you think I should name him? The only comment on this video that actually has a suggestion is for the name Hector, so that's what I'll be calling the dog. It's back to the forest to gather more flowers. Then the player does something odd. They see a lone red flower and add a yellow one, saying, "Not alone." The meaning of this isn't clear. As the player walks away, the music cuts out. Back at the house, the player places their dandelions by the path. They then finally start construction on the greenhouse. Hi. This time, there's no sound coming from the attic. Perhaps Hector has scared it away. The player keeps building the greenhouse, and This time, there's no sound coming from the attic. Perhaps Hector has scared it away.
I feel like I saw something there. Can't really tell.
The player keeps building the greenhouse, and they need a lot of wood. They look at the statues for a moment, but they remain silent. Night falls. There's a cave sound as the player falls asleep, as well as a creaking. But when the player looks in the attic, there's again nothing to be found.
Place some damn torches. Look inside the fucking attic.
Greenhouse construction continues with oak logs for the outer frame. The player says that they want a bridge, and they clear out the trees that are in the way. They connect the greenhouse to the main house. Looks great. This time, the player hears both a creaking and a cave noise. But again, the attic remains empty. Construction progresses on the bridge. As night falls once more, the player says that they hope that Hector is safe here, presumably from whatever is in the attic. This time, though, there is no sound, and the player awakes without an issue. The outer edge of the greenhouse is completed, and the player moves to the floor. They add water and begin to till the dirt, planting seeds in it. Hi. The creaking has returned, but the attic is clear. Now, time for the roof of the greenhouse. It's built out of glass, and it takes the player a few minutes. They look out at the giants for a moment, but they are quiet. The greenhouse is nearly complete. The player surrounds it with flowers, installs a staircase, and adds exterior doors. Thanks to the bridge, it is now possible to reach the greenhouse from the main house. Ta-da! In celebration of completing the greenhouse, the player crafts some TNT. They go to the desert and set it off. To our new construction. Woohoo! Yeah! This is the end of the video. Throughout this series, the player has been afflicted by cave sounds. But in this episode, there's another sound alongside them, a creaking coming from the attic. Just like the other cave sounds, it has no visible source. There doesn't appear to be anything in the attic whenever the player looks at it. The following video is called Subway. But the introduction is a bit different. The text has a flipping effect on it, something we haven't seen before. Relax, enjoy.
Looking for real-world help right where you are? Get connected to services in your community with Soluna.
Relax, enjoy. Hello everyone. Sorry I've been gone for so long. Today we are going to build the subway. The player heads to the tunnel and begins mining. I'm clearing out the walls to fill them with cobblestone. I've made changes since the last episode. I hope you like them. There's something in my attic still. Sounds like zombies. The player goes up the ladder to see that there are a horde of zombies there. They fight for a moment before returning down to regroup. They heal up, switch to a diamond sword, and kill the zombies. The attic is safe at last. But there's a little detail that's very easy to miss. When the player goes up for the first time, Hector is sitting patiently in the bedroom. However, when the player comes back down, Hector is active, following the player. They even have to command him to sit again before they can kill the rest of the zombies. This is a strange little moment. Why did Hector act without being commanded? The crisis in the attic appears to have been averted. The player returns to the subway and continues to work on the walls for several minutes. As night approaches, they head into their bedroom and fall asleep. There are no strange sounds coming from the attic. The player continues to work on the subway, replacing the varied walls with consistent cobblestone. The walls are done. Now we just need the ceiling and the floor. But as the player approaches the giants, we hear something odd. It sounds almost like a trumpet or a horn. The statues have not made this sound before. The player returns to their house and goes to sleep. There are no more creaking noises. Then they begin constructing the floor. Once night approaches, they return to bed. Oh, come on! Now there's a trumpet sound alongside the creak. This confuses the player. That's it. The torch seemed to do something. We hear a harsh, brassy sound that fades away. Whatever was in the attic did not like the light. But why didn't the player just place a torch earlier, especially when they found a horde of zombies? In fact, there are a few times when the player has kept places dark. When the flowers disappeared from under the bridge, they suspected that it was because it was too dark. Why not just place a torch? Wouldn't that be easier than moving the flowers? Well, no time to think about it, the subway has to be built. The player adds more of the floor. After a few minutes, they decide to give us a tour of what has changed recently. This is a fishing house. I got rid of the garden here. This is a bridge. Working on the ceiling while the floor is in the furnace.
Thank you.
Again, we hear the trumpet sound, but the player doesn't seem to care. They don't respond at all. It's getting dark.
Alright guys, that is gonna be not it actually, because we're gonna save this rest of this video for later. We're gonna watch this scary videos that will creep you out video. But first, I've actually gotta go and do something. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Stop pinching my skin, bro. Fucking stop it. Stop. Alright, 10 minutes. Let's go. I love you. You know what I mean? I will make you drink. Yeah. What? No. I don't care. You keep offering something I'm not allowed to have. That's why. Yo, what's good, bro? I got my tacos and some soda and my dick. I'm feeling romantical. Where are you watching this? Something actually.
Not a ghost hunter or a paranormal On the YouTube channel NI Explorer 84, a guy named Brian explores abandoned places in Northern Ireland. Now, it should be mentioned that Brian is not a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. In fact, he says he doesn't believe in ghosts at all.
I want to start by saying I am very, very, very skeptical. I don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm open to the possibility slightly, but even from the age of 9, 10, I slept in a graveyard for like 5 hours in the middle of the night because I wasn't afraid of it. Doesn't bother me, don't believe in it.
But Brian recently had an experience that might make him reevaluate his feelings about the supernatural. You see, a few weeks ago he explored an old abandoned theater in Omagh, Northern Ireland. As he walked into one of the screening rooms, he captured something that he just can't explain.
I'm gonna go in here, right? So the thing I'll say, get in here. Right, in here, it smells of smoke. Which means people are smoking in here. And then what'll happen, the place will burn down. Jesus Christ, like honestly.
And this time, did you hear it?
Get in here.
Yeah, I heard the word, it's people.
As Brian walks into a screening room, 2 unexplained voices can be heard whispering in the darkness. They seem to be talking about Brian as they both say, "It's people." Brian says that he had no idea what he had recorded until he uploaded his video and read the viewer comments.
So, 5 o'clock in the morning, woke up, got a notification from someone on YouTube who commented in video saying that, don't mean to freak you out, but at 8 minutes 40 in your video from the cinema that you did the weekend there's someone whispering in your ear. So then the guy on YouTube messaged again, he goes, by the way, it actually says, it's people.
Brian also says that there was absolutely no one else inside the theater.
But the thing is, if you knew the cinema and where I was at, it's a closed hall with 3 rooms, 3 cinema rooms. I was in all 3 rooms. I walked around all 3 rooms twice. I come down back past that hall on the way out. So that's 3 times I was around that place. There was no one there. There was no one there. And it's not as if I was hearing someone's voice through the wall. It was a whisper, and it was right beside where I was at. I can't explain it. I just can't. And I don't think I've missed anything, and I cannot explain this, and it is freaky as shit. Honestly, I've never caught anything like this ever in video.
But what do you think? Did Brian record the voices of spirits that haunt the old Omagh Theatre in Northern Ireland? You decide. Imaginary fiend. A guy named Ahmad was visiting his family home when his 7-year-old sister wanted to show him a cute little picture she'd drawn. But it wasn't a cute picture. In fact, it was kind of horrifying.
Wait, what do you want to show me?
My picture I drew.
Your picture you drew?
That's Daddy, that's Mummy, and that's me.
And what's that?
That's Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Who's Steve?
My friend.
Your imaginary friend?
My best friend.
Your best friend Steve? You've got a best friend that looks like this?
It's my best friend Steve.
Okay. I'm leaving the house.
The little girl's drawing of her nightmarish friend Steve went viral, even inspiring some viewers to create renderings of what Steve might look like in real life.
Okay.
Viewers of Ahmad's video encouraged him to ask the little girl a few more questions about her imaginary friend Steve, and things went from bad to worse.
Mama said you got 2 imaginary friends.
No, I've got 2 best friends.
You've got 2 best friends?
Yeah, 2. Do you want me to show you in the picture?
Who's that?
That's Steve.
Yeah.
That's Margaret.
And who's that?
That's you.
That's me?
Yeah.
No, but you spelt my name wrong.
Yeah, but that's you.
That's me?
Yeah, with your moustache and your eyebrows.
My eyebrows?
Yeah.
My eyebrows look like that?
Yeah, your bushy eyebrows.
Wait, so why have you drawn this for?
Because Steve doesn't like you.
Steve doesn't like me?
Yeah, but Margaret likes you.
Margaret likes me?
Look, she's holding your hand.
She's holding my hand. She's eating me. Are you sure Margaret likes me?
Eating you out.
Yeah, she's holding your hand.
Okay. Do I need to be worried?
No.
No.
I think so.
No.
Actually, this is not a joke. I have left the house. If you want an Steve part 4, I'll be honest, I'm not giving that update. Because now I'm unlike by Steve, whoever this person is.
It turns out that Ahmad's little sister has another imaginary friend named Margaret. But even creepier, he learns that for some reason, her old friend Steve just doesn't like him.
Wait, so why have you drawn this for?
Because Steve doesn't like you.
Steve doesn't like me?
Yeah.
Ahmad is now a little freaked out. He says that after this last visit with his little sister, the drawings are just getting a bit too creepy for him. He says that he won't be checking in with another update on Steve, or Margaret for that matter. The Hanging Hands. A woman is running a daycare out of her quiet suburban home. It's an average day, and the kids are laughing and playing nearby. Everything seems normal, but then things start to get a little spooky.
Post your TikToks or Reels like you always do, and Repurpose.io instantly picks it up for you.
But then things start to get a little spooky.
What happened?
A little boy comes running out of one of the nearby rooms, screaming in fear. The daycare provider hurries over and asks him what's wrong, but he's too terrified to speak. He just points at the open door. Cautiously, the woman goes to check it out for herself.
Did you do that? Were you in there? Were you in there?
No.
Who knocked this over? Who knocked this over?
While the woman is in the room investigating, a heavy child's playhouse suddenly tips over on its side. The crash startles her and leaves the children a bit confused. But here's where things get very, very creepy. Because, did you see it?
Yeah.
Viewers of the video point out that there are two creepy little hands reaching down from above the door. The hands look to be about the size of a child, and they pull back and disappear just as the little boy runs from the room. Now, the daycare provider's daughter who posted the video says that she didn't even notice these little hands until someone pointed them out in the video comments.
This is the room. The crazy thing about this is that there was like markings at the top of the entranceway of like the doorway, and I guess in the video you can see hands gripping onto the doorway. I don't really know what to make of that.
The young woman says that she is also confused as to how the child's playhouse could just turn over.
Firstly, we have the house, and obviously you guys saw that it fell, but the other thing I wanted to point out was that it's pretty hefty, so it really doesn't make any sense that it would just fall on its own like that.
But the story gets even creepier as the daycare provider's daughter explains just why the little boy ran out of the room in the first place.
The main thing, and the reason that the little boy was screaming, is actually in here. We have this covered up for a reason. Apparently, the little boy told my mom that he saw a face in these mirrors.
A few days later, and the daughter notices something weird on the CCTV. As she is watching, the child security gate just seems to unlatch and open on its own. She heads into the room to investigate, but she's not ready for what she finds.
Yeah, because
That's
guess what?
fucking creepy.
He's grounded from using his phone. His parents don't want him to have a phone for absolutely no reason.
Do it again.
Hey, bro, I got a free sticker on this bitch.
Like, yeah, okay. Do it again. I'll wait. Do it again. Open the gate.
Look at the curtain thing.
As she is recording the child gate and trying to encourage any nearby spirit to open it again, something suddenly moves under the sheet covering the vanity. It almost looks like a finger poking underneath. The movement is slight, but the young woman notices it immediately and just makes a run for it. The woman and her mother now believe that the little child's vanity was the cause of all the paranormal activity. They say that they have now sold the little wooden vanity to someone on Facebook Marketplace. Someone who actually wanted to buy the vanity just because it might be haunted. But Was this actual paranormal activity? And if not, then just what are these bizarre little hands that seem to reach down from the ceiling? You decide. If you see something that you think would be perfect for the top 5, email me at nukestop5@gmail.com. You can also tag me on TikTok at nukestop5official, and be sure to tag me only at nukestop5official because there are a lot of fake accounts on there. The Invisible Guest. Tristan says that his house in France is haunted by a very active poltergeist. He often hears footsteps and sees things moving on their own.
Use the Discord account that I gave you, bro. I'm not gonna be living in that house if the fucking door creaks that much, bitch. Hell to the no, 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 hell to the no. No, hell to no, hell to no, hell to no, hell to no. How long does furnace in Minecraft? ves coconut, todo ves coconut. Fuck you. It's taking so long, bitch. Tu ves coconut, 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 coconut. Tu ves Is it true that in Warplanes online combat made by HomeNet Games, is it really true that the AI in that game can actually try and dodge your rounds that you fire at them? What would happen if a BF-109 and a B-29 Super Fortress teamed up together and fought in World War I as their own nation? Okay, then let's bring this into play. Alright, so it has infinite ammunition and it can infinitely drop bombs no matter how many could be stored into the bomb bay. They'll just infinitely restore as soon as the final one leaves the bomb bay, and they'll just continue dropping again, even if there's a short gap in between each bomb run. Okay, then the BF-109, infinite fuel. B-29 Super Fortress, infinite fuel. Then the Focke-Wulf 190 will come in as well. Infinite fuel, infinite ammunition, infinite everything, indestructible everything. And everything is indestructible basically for them. But the only place they can be hit is a few small square panels on them. And these square panels are basically going to be like main detonation points. The little device will explode if they're hit there, specifically in the center of that main panel. Only that. Then a detonation will occur. A small detonation will then explode their fuel tanks. But the World War I world would have to figure that out. As now 20 more BF-109s and 20 more Focke-Wulf 190s and 20 more B-29 Super Fortress and 29 B-17s come in. only the inside would explode, destroying the fuel tank, meaning they can't fly anymore. But the shell is completely indestructible. Bitch.